Hi, Shane. Hey, Carmen. Hey, Kristen. Awesome.
Is recording.
That's
We are
okay.
now online and we are recording. So, welcome everybody. So, this is a cool call, and I think this is absolutely indicative of how dōTERRA works. So, Roxy and Adrian, we are so excited to have you guys on this call. And what I mean by this is indicative of dōTERRA is, Roxy, you and I are not on the same team. We are on completely separate teams, but we have kind of been, I guess, brothers and sisters in this journey for several years now. In fact, this is coming up on my 7th year. Holly's in my 7th year in February. Where you guys are somewhere right in there, right?
Yeah, our 12-12-12 is the day we joined, so we're coming up on 6 years, and
Okay.
anniversary of the business is January 2013, so we're coming up on 6 years.
Awesome. Very cool. And it's interesting because you have your birthday, your anniversary of your business, and then your anniversary of just actually starting dōTERRA. And that's very, very common for, honestly, most of us in dōTERRA. So that's pretty cool. So, oh, well, streaming didn't end up working on my end. But we are recording this. So any of you guys that are on live, congratulations. Thank you for coming on live. And for those who are watching this recording, hopefully we will say some things that will be beneficial to you guys. And I know good and well that Roxy and Adrian have a lot to share. I'm David Mays, and my wife is actually in a seminar right now, so she's not able to be with me. As I said before, we are Blue Diamond rank, but we have not been hitting Blue Diamond. We went into some stagnation phase, which is extremely common, not just in dōTERRA. Stagnation is common if you open a business. Stagnation will happen at some point, and so the question is what do you do about it? Do you throw up your hands and run for cover, or do you actually recreate yourself and build further? So that's kind of why we're on this call, is to show, number one, where does it happen? What is it? What does it mean? And what did you have to do to get out of that phase? And how can we move forward? And so Roxy and Adrian have been friends of ours for years now, and we have hugged each other in the bad times. We've hugged each other in the good times, and we're all still here, which is kind of fun. And so they are brand spanking new Blue Diamonds, and the blue is just, the aura is still just kind of glistening off of them, as you can tell, especially with the little smooch that happened just even as the video started. So you won't be able to leave that down, but. And so we're excited to have these guys on. There is something unique, in my opinion, that happens to a team when it goes from diamond to Blue Diamond, and catching that spirit, catching that culture that happened as a result of that shift, is something that is easy to forget along the way. And once you've been that, it's hard to remember what did it really feel like. And so I think that's why it's important to capture this as we go, because even asking a presidential, what did you do to get from diamond to blue, their answer as presidential is probably not what it really was, unless they're truly writing things down and journaling them and taking note of it. So Roxy and Adrian, we appreciate you guys from coming on board and capturing this kind of raw feel, both of yourself as well as your team, so that we can kind of show everybody really what it takes to get there, and so that others can do it themselves. So a little bit more about what we're trying to cover today. Now, we are going to limit this to 1 hour, okay? And so we may or may not, and I would probably stress on the may not part, actually cover everything that we want to cover today. Okay, so but Roxy and Adrian have been gracious enough to potentially offer an additional call like this if we get into the weeds and we have to realize that we got to reboot and do another call. So we're excited about that as well. All right, so we want to cover a little bit about what does stagnant mean. what levels of doTERRA feel it, who's responsible for it. And notice I said not whose fault is it, but who's responsible for it. And there is a difference. And then of course, most importantly, how do you fix it? What shift in personal mindset was required to make the shift? What team mindset shift was required? What actions did you change to create that growth-based team, both at the personal and the team level? And then basically, what I mean by that is basically what changed in your team, you and your team, to create that culture of enrollment versus just a culture of management. Okay, and there's a huge difference there.
And a partridge in a pear tree. Anything else you want, David, for Christmas? Anything else?
Yeah, we're going to cover all that in an hour. No problem. All right. So, and the reality is if we get through the first one and that's it, then that's cool. That's the way it is. And we do another call later. So, guys, I'm going to shut up now, and I want you guys to, from the standpoint of stagnation, number one, what does it mean? And how do you even determine that you're in it?
Yeah. So stagnant, to me, stagnant means like the soapy dish soap that's not being wrung out, right? We're all sorry, but we were created for a purpose, you guys, to be givers, to give. And so if we're just sitting in our back office looking at the numbers and nothing is changing and everything's flatline, you're stagnant. I don't think we need to, go too further deep on that. I mean, either you're growing or you're not. Either we started about 2 years ago pushing this idea to our leaders of at least minimum of 4 enrollments a month to even be like the heartbeat of you're still alive. You're on life support, right? I mean, for our people to have at least 4 enrollments a month, that means at least they're paying for their products, but they're definitely not growing. It's not like you're not growing. And so we don't even recognize the people who have less than 4. I'm sorry, it sounds bad, but we just say, we really make it an emphasis. So weekly, we weekly go in and say, hey, who's on target for a minimum of 4 weekly? So who has at least 1 enrollment in the first week? Who has at least 2 enrollments in the second week? You're on target to have at least 4. And why do we hammer that is because, again, if their business is on life support, they're not advancing. So we really had a culture of enrolling and not having that stagnation anymore. But you're flatline, you're not growing, you're not giving. That's when you know you're stuck. Yeah.
So how do you take a person from the mindset of it's impossible for me, and I'm just throwing out these drastic terms, but it's impossible for me to find and enroll 4 people in a month. So can I even do this? If I can't do 4, is it even worth me trying?
Yes, it is. It is worth every bit of it, David, because there are 2 words that really came to us. It is continuous, like it is growth, but it's intentional. We're explaining people nowadays, you have to simplify, just like we've learned now for many, many months in training, that if you don't make it simple, that the 3rd grader will understand it, forget about it. I don't care what you're selling, rockets or, mulch, pick mulch or whatever, ice cream, lemonade. Make it simple that the 3rd grade will understand it. And if you have intentional growth your actions are towards growing your team and you're intentional in what you're doing, even if it's little, it doesn't have to be I quit my job and I'm going to do dōTERRA, but you're intentional in that 1 class a month. Or, if you want to reach the big leagues, yes, 4 enrollments a month, you will make it happen. And you're going to pay for your oils initially. You're going to make the $1,000 a month, and you're going to grow into that. So we try to simplify, and I think that's what really happened to us in the last 5 years since we reached Diamond. We had to break a couple of walls that were within us, and once we reached through those walls, and we were able to simplify to make other people understand. You have to break that wall. I don't know what your wall is, but if you don't break it, you're not gonna make it through.
So speaking on enrollments, like we have to make it easy for people to buy. We can't make it, I know when we first started, we were doing all the classes and that worked for a while because people didn't know about essential oils. So maybe, I don't know the dynamic of the demographic of who's on the call today, but those of us that have been in it for a long time, you've noticed that the class isn't really effective anymore. And so we're doing a lot of one-on-one appointments, and that has proven to be very effective. But even getting a referral from a 90-year-old lady, and I was able to sign her up in 20 minutes over the phone with the Home Essentials Kit, she said, "Thank you for making it easy to buy." So we have to simplify our processes and stop shooting ourselves in the foot by making things so darn complicated. If they're meeting with you, they're already open. They want the product. I literally just sat down from another appointment this morning, my second enrollment already this month. It's not about us, right? So when we're self-focused, I mean, David, your question was, I can't do it. I don't know how I'm going to find them. I don't know what I'm, right? That's all self-focused. If I sit in my office all day and self-focus on me, you're not going to help anybody for sure. So it has to be outward focused. If I remember what it was like in my life, not having these precious bottles in my home, or some of us, again, you've been in it for so long, maybe you don't even remember what that's like. Maybe you need to close your eyes and just imagine no more doTERRA in your home. What would your home be like tomorrow? What would you do? Where would you go? And the options are slim. There's not much. And so I think it's important for us to remember that there are people like that out there. There are thousands and thousands and millions of people still out there that have no hope, that don't know that there's an option. And so we have to remind ourselves, bring it to the forefront of our mind, that there's still people out there that are hurting. And the same thing with business recruiting. There's people out there that are struggling and they're hurting, and be bold in what you have in this gift in doTERRA.
You know, it's interesting you mentioned, well, first of all, you mentioned two things. You mentioned that this is already your second enrollment for the month, and literally 15 minutes ago, you were enrolling someone. So I think that speaks to something we'll cover maybe this time, maybe not. But I'm Blue Diamond, therefore I can watch my team grow mentality is not the way it goes. But before we get into that, I'd rather put it back into the perspective of those who are not at the Blue Diamond rank. And something that you said by saying that is there is sacrifice. There's sacrifice on one level, and then there's also, you have to become someone different than you already are potentially. In other words, you've got to grow yourself in order to reach that. And for those who are brand new, and again, like Roxy said, we don't really know who all is on this call, so we kind of want to. It really fits everyone, and so what you glean from it will probably depend upon your rank. But to put things in perspective, a Blue Diamond is 5 legs that are at least gold each. Okay, so you've got at least 5 golds. Now they can be a higher rank in some levels or not. A gold is making anywhere from $35,000 to $45,000 a year, typically part-time. Okay, depending on what your career path is, you're probably not full-time. You still probably have your career at gold. We typically recommend that anyway. And so, Roxy, would you agree that a person who is going from silver to gold, and that is a huge shift in rank, and it's a tremendous accomplishment for all of those on your front line, or probably not front line, but wherever they are that have reached that level, because that's a big deal. What would you think is that major shift that it took from them to get from silver to gold, mindset wise, and how that shift looked out? Because think about it, if you're making $35,000 to $45,000 a year part time, that's $100,000 per year full time business if you look at it from that perspective. So yeah. It's a big deal. And so a person that's making $100,000 is mentally different, not necessarily more qualified, not necessarily more talents, whatever, but they're mentally in a different space than if they're making 50. So kind of go into that a little bit.
Speak to that in a second, but one thing that we really focused on over the last, in the beginning, it felt like we were doing everything on our own, right? I don't know about any of you guys, but we had from our diamond leg, we had built 3 out of 4 of the legs. One of them was a silver on their own pretty much, but the others we had built. And so I still remember going to the first leadership, and David Sterling said, anybody get to Diamond on their own? And I'm like, yeah, here. And he was like, he was talking about how being humble and all this stuff. And I'm like, no, really, I did it on my own. And you guys, did I really do it on my own? Really? And so is definitely a shift in your perspective of, this is not an individual sport. There is no way, like for Blue Diamond, you have 50 people that are all going in the same direction. And I don't know about you guys, but I can't control him or anybody else on my team. I can barely control myself from eating that piece of cake or whatever, right? So imagine trying to get 50 people to do one thing at one time. It's like, no offense to anyone on my team that's amazing and wonderful on here. I don't mean it this in a bad way, but like, it's like getting 50 puppies to go in the same direction. You know, it's not possible on your own. And having this, what we have really found as the key was building from the bottom up, not working from the top down. We originally would work like, you, gold, you can do it. You need to do it. You need to find, you need to do. Hello, it wasn't working. Okay. We were stuck at Diamond for 5 years. And I guess, you know, it's a good place to be stuck, I suppose. But we had finally figured out that it wasn't going to work from the top down. It was going to work from the bottom up. And so we really focused on all of those 30 executives, how we can get them paying for your oils. Because I don't know if you're brand new or not on this call, but you can get to executive. Y'all, executive is 2,000 organizational volume, right? That's 4 or 5 enrollments. And this month with the frankincense promotion, that's a shoe-in, right? I mean, you guys, 4 or 5 enrollments is, you go just walk on the front of your street and you're going to find 5 enrollments. Okay, it's not, it really, but my belief is that, right? Because I know people are out there hurting. Adrian, on the last day of the month, there was a guy coughing in the parking lot, and he signed him up with the Home Essentials kit on the spot, okay? We just carry him in our trunk, okay? Because the shipping takes a little bit longer in the holidays, so we'll just keep swapping them out when they're eventually come in. But y'all, it's about other people. It's about giving back. Stop making it rocket science and work from the bottom up with getting these people to pay for their products. Because our retention for dōTERRA, 5-year retention rate is 95% if people are paying for their products. Because I don't know about you, but we don't want to hit Blue Diamond one time. we want it to be sustained. We want it to be organic and solid for future growth as well for our team, right?
Yes. So one of the things that comes to mind when you ask that question, and goes hand in hand with what we were saying earlier, simplify it. Do you know what happened last month for us? Which just is not just the one, David, or anybody else there that we said, oh, let's just make it happen now. We worked hard, especially the last 20 months or so, focused into placement, into fostering relationship, cleaning up, and literally simplify the message. We had 30 people pay for their oils, 15 people make $1,000, almost $1,000, 5 people make almost $5,000. It's as simple as that. And then try to get all of that at once in. And you're saying, what really happens in the mind of a gold? And we've been talking about this nonstop. And it's as simple and as hokey as the belief pyramid, guys. You will never do absolutely anything in dōTERRA with respect to paying for your products if you are not going to believe in the product.
There's no way.
No way. Then next, if you don't believe in dōTERRA as a company that can really make you money, you are not going to make that $1,000 a month.
How can you recruit people if you don't believe in the business?
Okay.
Right?
Then if you want to go up, you have to start believing in yourself. And that's basically a silver there. But gold, what is gold? It is the fourth thing. You have to start believing in your builders. If you don't believe in your people and let them be, they were giddy, man. All of our golds were like, you can hear their smile in their voices as we were talking to them throughout the month.
Right. What we found is that just like with the oils, people don't know your product yet. So they're borrowing your belief. When I'm going into a sales appointment, like this lady I met with this morning, her son struggles with chronic sinus and ear infections. My heart goes out to her because that was our story, right? And I told her, I said, I will help you without a shadow of a doubt. I know we're going to help you, right? She doesn't know this yet, but she's borrowing my belief. And it's the same thing for the business opportunity. When I see a young mom that's struggling, but I see some potential, I see a glimmer there, that she's like a little snuffed out candle that just hasn't had an opportunity to bloom. And I can go to her and say, I want you on my arc. I want to work with you. I see you've got this and this and this. You're going to be amazing. She's borrowing my belief in the business, right? If you don't believe in this business opportunity, how are you ever going to be able to find a business partner?
Yeah. So the question is, how do you find them? Number one, that we started to be a lot more as of late in the last year, 12 months, is be bold. You know, Roxy telling this lady that she talked to today, I will help you. Why did she do it? Did she do it? I will help you. No, she was bold. She had confidence. And when you go to somebody and you said, have you given dōTERRA thought? You know, you're trying to do a recruiting conversation. You're just asking a point blank question. You close it. You don't say anything. You let them think. You're putting pressure on them because the ball is in their court. They have to answer that question. And two things will happen. They will either say, you know what, with conviction, I'm going to give it a try, or I'm going to get out of the way. And it liberates you guys. That's what you're looking for, the freedom to say, this is a person that's going with me, and that's a person that's not going with me. You just, find that path for them. People don't know what they want. They have to be presented with the opportunity to choose, Be bold in asking them. I told Roxy about a year ago, I said, I'll go talk to this person, that person, that person. She's like, you're crazy. She watched me do it. She's like, I can't believe you did that. Why did you do that? You have to be bold. But when can you be bold? Why was Roxy bold in this appointment? Because it was her experience with the oils. And we were bold with our questions because we're making money with dōTERRA. And even if you don't make that much, you can still be bold in the levels that you are in. I don't know if that answers the question there.
Yeah, I think actually that's going to be a nice segue into a question that was asked. But before I want to go there, maybe we will cover that kind of blue mentality versus an elite mentality. Okay, because a lot of times people look at blue diamonds, and go, well, of course it's easy for you. You're making good money. You've seen it. Blah blah blah. And the reality is, if you don't have that belief before you get to Blue Diamond, you'll never make it to Blue Diamond, because it's the belief that got you there in the first place, because the belief created the boldness created the action, and the action created Blue Diamond.
Right.
And so I think a lot of people get that backwards and go, well, if I was making 30 a month, and yeah, sure, I'd have belief, but that's really not the case.
And my question to people when I ask them is, I don't even know, because I'm not a sporty person, but the last Olympian that, Nicole Miller or whatever her name, Bodie, whatever. I don't know any names, but who is the last Olympian, right? When did they become an Olympian? They didn't become an Olympian when they won the gold medal and they were put on the pedestal with the thingy and whatever. That wasn't when they became an Olympian. They became an Olympian at the age of 4 or 10 when they chose to eat the right things, to work their body at 4 a.m. over and over and over and over again, right? So we chose our first month when we started. I became elite first month, premier second month, silver third month, golden 8 months, diamond in 13 months. I chose diamond when I was an elite. I showed up as a diamond as an elite because I knew if you put all the ingredients in a machine, you're going to get sausage at the end. If you do the right things, right? If you put all these components and ingredients in together, you're going to get the outcome. It may not just be in the timetable in which you think, right? We grew so fast to diamond. My assumption was we were going to continue growing at that pace, but we didn't. And there was so many things, like people who know us now from 4 or 6 years ago, we are different. We're different people than we were 6 years ago. You guys were more humble, and definitely,
like we said
about our team.
Like we said in a call last night, so we're the same people, guys. In our team, there was somebody in our team that wanted to feature us on their call, and we said, "Hey, we're the same, Adrian and Roxy," and they said, "No, you guys are different." Right. And I'm like, "No, we're the same." He's like, "No, you guys worked on each other." And it's like, "Yes, you're right. We have," and like something has to change in somebody that's stagnant. Things have to change. And what does Jim Rohn say? Roxy always says it. For things to change,
You must change.
You must change.
So if you keep doing the same thing, expecting different results, right? That's the definition of insanity, right? So we knew we had to change. So 2 years ago, we hired sales training. We started with sales training for our team. Then we went into leadership training. And then we spent the last, I did 3 sessions of 12 weeks of individual and group coaching with the sales coach, right? And it's like, well, why are you so focused on sales? But I have a master's in business administration, but nobody taught me how to run a multi-level marketing company, right? And how do you keep simplifying the message? Because the longer you're in it, the more complicated we make things, right? And so when we make it hard for people, then of course they're not going to join us. A confused mind always says no. And so we had to simplify the message to where it was an easy choice for them if that was something that they were going to do. But we, not only the sales training and all of that, but personal development. We started going to the gym last year in January. Adrian and I committed. We were like, listen, we were overweight, and here we are telling people, hey, you join our wellness company so you can be like us. And these people, all my runner friends and gluten-free, paleo, whatever, they're looking at me like, oh, I'm okay over here. I don't want anything that you're selling, because you're not healthy, right? I mean, they're thinking this without saying it, right? These are my friends, but we have to be what we're portraying, we have to be authentic, right? So if we represent a wellness company, we need to get our crap together, y'all. We had to clean up our finances. We had to clean up our emotional stuff. We cleaned up stuff with our upline, downline, sideline, hairline, waistline, all of it, okay? You have to clean it up. Y'all, it's got to go. We don't have time. If you see somebody's name on your news feed of Facebook or whatever, and you get all hot and sweaty pits because you've got an issue with them, y'all, that's holding you back. You may not even realize that, but it's got to go. We had to have some conversations. We had to let some people go in our business. And that was the best thing that has happened to us. Now, not with hard feelings, but just to say, you know what? This isn't a good relationship that's working out. And so God bless you as you go, but go. and that's okay. But it frees up space in your mind and your heart to be that leader. If you're always thinking about all the negative stuff, you guys, that's tearing you down. It's tearing your health down, all of it. It's all connected.
Yeah. And I think sometimes those decisions can be really hard. Because, as we start this business, especially in the beginning, who do you typically enroll first? It's the people you already know, family, close friends, etc., which is fantastic. But just because they're friends doesn't necessarily make them excellent business partners. Right. And so just because it doesn't work out doesn't mean you failed, doesn't mean they failed. It just wasn't right. And there's nothing wrong with that. A question that is in the chat, and I think plays along with this is, do you have suggestions on finding builders? And I know where you're going to go with that, which I think is beautiful. So, this person is explaining that they were silver, and then all of their builders gave up. So I guess they weren't truly builders. And so my personal take on that is maybe not. Sometimes it's how you handle them. And so again, we're not placing blame, we're placing responsibility. And I have to do that. That's a mirror saying that, because I've had builders give up at large levels and they quit. So that happens. And so I have to play a role in what did I do to create that, but it doesn't necessarily mean that either of them were wrong. But as you grow yourself, you can either bring those back on or find new people. And so share a little bit about what you feel does it take to find, quote unquote, find builders.
So it all starts with us, David. What is it that we consider somebody as a builder? Because my definition may be different than yours or than Roxy's or the person who enrolled today. So when you talk to somebody, we're trying to say, I think that this is a round hole or a square hole, and I have this other peg here that is a triangular peg. When I try to stab it, it doesn't go. Get a hammer. It's like you push rope. I don't know how else I'm trying to make that analogy there, but not everybody thinks of this the same way. Just think of what will make you successful. People that are going to to go towards the same direction like you are? Do they have to go the same speed? Do they have to go as far as you do? No, probably they don't. So they may be okay in that spot. You don't have to be finding somebody like you. Ideally, it is find somebody even better than you everywhere. So you will have an easy way of communicating with them. But that's not going to always be the case. And that's what we had to learn to don't try to force everybody to be like us. And if it's not, it's good. It's find out if they are, where are they in that spectrum? Are they hot, cold, warm, lukewarm? You know, how closer to the cold, you know, closer to the hot, and work with them. And, you know, we're making a mess out of your questions agenda.
Okay, I'm going to piggyback on what he said.
Okay. Actually, what I'd like to expand on that, which might kind of bring some direction on that, is a silver is a very delicate, would be the term, rank. Okay, and in all reality, if a silver is a delicate rank, all that means is a diamond is 4 times as delicate.
Yep, it is. It is.
But because a silver is in that stage to where they're doing a ton of work, and they're really not actually getting a lot of the results that they think they should be getting at that time. Yeah. They're building a foundation, but it's still a very fragile time.
Yes,
and
I agree with that.
Yeah, and so for me to answer your question is thank God for you that they gave up at elite. Because it's way easier to create an elite than it is to create a silver or a gold or so the reality is there's a lot there. We can't really get, I would love to get into your placement strategy on how to solve something like that. But my gosh, that's an entirely different call.
But what I want to answer about the finding builders is that Adrian was spot on. But what I look at is, those of you guys that are married on the call, you had a standard of what you wanted. You had a ideal person that you're looking for, an avatar, right? Like, who am I looking for? I knew exactly what I wanted. And you guys, when I saw him, when I found him, when I got to know him, he met all of my, I don't want to say checklist, but he met what my desire was in a lifelong partner. It's the same thing with a business partner. I know I'm looking for someone who is a lady, for my personal, right? A lady, 30 to 40, entrepreneurial spirit, a go-getter, unstoppable, passionate, driven, fun, right? This business is supposed to be fun. It's not supposed to be pulling teeth. When you find that right fit of a business partner, we hustle and work hard together, but it is fun and rewarding. You hit that synergy where you're like, man, that was a good day, but like an amazing day because you guys got it done, right? And that's what you're looking for. It's not supposed to be hard, y'all. It's not supposed to be pulling teeth, dreading appointments with people, dragging them along, road rash, burn, all of that. It's not supposed to be like that. It's supposed to be fun and rewarding when you have the right people on your arc. We keep alluding to this. We went to start a chiropractic care in January earlier this year. And the lady, she didn't even know us, but she's like, you guys are creating an arc. You guys are building an arc. Not everybody's going to be able to be saved. They're just not. You can't help everybody. You have a limited amount of space. And you guys, all of us, we have a limited amount of time, a limited amount of emotional capacity of how many people can we onboard a month? How many people can I enroll and launch properly? And we can talk about strategies for that. And how many builders can I onboard properly? And there's a limit to that, every one of us. And so how can we're trying to help all the people, but know who you're looking for. So when you see them, you're aware of them, right? It's the same thing. Like if you've ever look around your room right now and look for everything black that you see. Okay. Look, black. I see black. I see black. Okay. Now close your eyes. Now think where you saw something red. Yikes. Right? Missed it. It's right there, but I wasn't looking for it because I was looking for black. I did a booth with a team. I try to do booths with the team and get the whole team involved to train them, show them how to do it. And I asked them, what's your goal for today? And this is what they told me. I'm looking for 5 new customers. Guess what they found? 5 new customers. Because that's what they were looking for. Now, at the end of the day, they asked me, Roxy, what were you looking for? And I said, I was looking for 2 new builders. Guess what Roxy found? 2 new builders. Okay. They signed up with the Natural Solutions Kit as well. So I found 2 customers as well, but my goal wasn't 2 customers. My goal was 2 business leaders. Okay. So you're going to find what you're looking for. And I know some of you are like, whatever, you're going to get off this call and be like, this crazy blue diamond chick that they just look for leaders and you're going to find them. And this is so dumb. But it is so true, you guys. If you are looking for it and you're expecting it and you clear out your family drama and your business drama and whatever drama you've got in your life, you're going to find them. But they're not going to be attracted to you if you are posting stuff on Facebook about politics, junk, everybody's drama. Y'all stop that. When people post, these weird, ambiguous quotes about stuff, y'all don't be a part of that. Don't be that person, because no one will want to be a part of your drama. They just don't. Crazy.
I love that. I think, it's interesting when you look at, as soon as you were like, those crazy blue diamonds, I thought, I really believe that a scarcity mindset is what creates a lot of the, I can never find builders. They've all been taken. They've, et cetera. And I really think what we are walking into now is such a beautiful time in doTERRA. It's as easy to build now. And I am personally finding it as easy to build now as it was when we first started. And it's a different group of people perhaps, but they need help just like everybody else. And so I think that, wow, quite a nugget there on, are you looking for customers or builders? Because I've been in that phase of doing both. But I feel like I've been looking for customers a lot more than builders. And guess what? I've been finding a lot of customers, which are great, so love that.
Now you do need the customers too. Remember,
absolutely,
your paycheck is made from customers.
Absolutely.
However, you're going to attract some people if you leave what you're, do what we do and say,
and I think, Adrian, I think that's the key. And that's what I felt. And this is the key term. That's what I felt from you guys as you were explaining it. What I felt was passion. And that passion is what drives a person to go, I want to do what you do.
Right.
Not what you're saying. It's literally what, like the Simon Sinek, it's not what you say. It's why. It's how do you say it? It's what's coming out of you. And so are you trying to, solve a problem for a person, or are you trying to change their life? There's a huge difference there. Now, the health side may actually change their life.
Yeah.
But if you're trying to change their whole life, which includes wealth as well, now you're looking for builders. And so I love that.
Yeah. So let me tell you guys something. In August this year, one of my daughters went to audition to a local theater. For some reason, I really felt like our entire family need to be in this production. So my husband was like, are you freaking kidding me? It's 10 hours a week for 10 weeks. That's 100 hours. There's 6 of us in our family. That's 600 hours. And you know what? He kept saying, do you know what our business would look like if we invested 600 hours in our business? But I kept telling him, trust me. It's building relationships. We're going to meet 50 to 60 new people that we have never met before that have never heard about doTERRA, right? And he got the lead role of Noah in Noah's Ark. So guess what? What our chiropractor said, that y'all are building an ark. Hello. Yes. It
crazy.
Was a whole new meaning. But let me tell you guys something that happened in this process of 12 weeks that we were with these people.
I had to sing 8 solos.
He had to sing 8
script
solos.
This big and do a dance.
Okay, you did a good job, baby. Y'all, the video is coming soon. It was really good.
Do not.
But let me tell you what happened, because this is how we find builders, you guys. It's relationships. If I had gone in day one, we sell doTERRA, we're going for Blue Diamond in the next few months. Y'all need to get with the program, and some of you are going to be my builders, right? No way, that would never work. So what we did, of course, we're wearing our oils. Our kids are oily. My license plate says do oils, all of the stuff. So people are watching, okay? They ask, so we're weird and we're unique. We're the only whole big giant family there. And they ask you, what do you do? How can you be here at 4 o'clock, right? How can your whole entire family be here? And I'm like, oh, well, we sell essential oils. That was it. Nothing else. Okay, nothing else. And we use our oils, and one of them had a cough, and I was like, oh, here's some, whatever. I gave her something, didn't say anything else. one of the girls was texting me something like, do you really work from home? And I said, yeah. And we just texted back and forth a little bit, never said anything to her again. You know why, guys? We're in a captive, have like a captive little audience there. How awkward would it have been if I would have just hammered her on dōTERRA and now she has no escape, right? Like I can't even get away from the crazy oil lady. So she knows where I stand. I leave open-ended things with her like, hey, if you ever want to know more, or we're always looking for great people. Leave it open-ended though for people to have the option to join what you're doing, not force it down their freaking throat. No one would want to join that.
Actually, take that a step even further. For 10 weeks from that spot, from the beginning when we said that's who we are, we didn't do anything. And you know how it is for a big production like that. The last few days are just awful. And we had our oils, the beads, the On Guard and the peppermint and oils there for us to help us with our voices as we were singing backstage. And day number 2, the whole bottles were gone. It's like, this stuff is amazing. I said, I know. That's, I've been telling you.
And we didn't say anything.
I said,
nothing.
I want to know more. Like, cool, we'll talk. Let's
finish. Let's get through this week. And so the following week, after all the theater stuff was done, we had 3 or 4 families that we had really built a relationship with that we would love them to be on our arc. And so what we did was we scheduled barbecue. Come to my house and have dinner with us. Get to know us a little bit better. It was not a sales conversation. It was let them see life in our home, that we're real humans, normal people, right? Or, well, relatively normal. And that's what we did, guys. And as they're in our home and we're eating dinner and they're like, y'all are just, I don't even know what you're doing, but we just want to be part of that. We just want to be with you. We love your energy, your passion, your family, what you stand for. But guys, it took 12 weeks to build that relationship. Now coming out the other end of it, it was worth it.
And now they're asking us, why didn't you say something to me the entire almost 3 months? And
it made them want it even more. Okay. Which is opposite of what we think.
You bring up a really powerful point, because a lot of people, we talk about planting seeds in dōTERRA, and of course with the new mentality that we use, techniques that we use now, that planting seeds is a much shorter time period than potentially, giving a sample and then just hoping that someone might, call you back. But it's that process is a faster pace, but it creates that urge. And the reality is you walk around, and this is something that happened to me, because it is all right. So back up a little bit. You guys mentioned that you're they ask you those questions like, well, how do you guys have the time to have your whole family here and blah blah blah. Okay, well, that's because you are now full time. Okay, that's great. Well, what about the new guy who's an elite that isn't full time? She's still a nurse. She's still a whatever that she does. What is that response? And what I ended up having to do personally, and then I want to hear what you guys say. What I had to do is I had to practice what my response is when someone says, so what do you do? Because I fumbled all over it, because I was so used to saying I'm an IT, I own an IT company. And so then I'm trying, but I do this essential oil thing, and they're like, okay, that's cool. Zip, and they're done. So how, Holly and I would ask each other going around the corner. So what do you do? Just out of the blue. And you're like, and so we kind of got better and better at it, but you've got to make that focus. If you want to make $100,000 in this business, if you want to make 50,000 in this business, you've got to make it focused as though that's your business. What you do in your daytime is really just what you're doing to get by until your business grows.
Exactly.
It's a swap.
Yeah.
So what do you guys think?
Yeah.
Well, some of the things that you have to always take it with a grain of salt. It depends on who you talk to. Are you talking to somebody that makes a lot of money or that doesn't make a lot of money? Because remember, 78% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck. That is, and what, $400 to $500, they say that it will be life-changing. Extra $500 a month will be life-changing for their family. So when you say to somebody, hey, you could make that much money if you just get 2 people under you to pay for their oils, so have 2,000 legs, and you have about 5,000 legs, you know, and with intentional growth actions, you can make that much. You know, you talk to them at the level they're at that time. Of course, as they get in, they're like, so how can I make what my upline is their goal? I said, oh, take 3 like you, and you would make the 5,000. And with the gold, you may say, well, make 5 like you would make the 35,000. And their lights just go like, simple. So we simplify the message. We put systems in place for
huge.
Every stage of this game, because it is like a game. It's like a chess game. It's like you bring the people from your Rolodex in, and then once they buy the oil, you teach them. You have to have a system for that. Once you teach them, you're getting them to closer to say, well, I want to learn more, to the point of saying, I want to pay for my oils. That's another system. And once you have them there, they're like, I want to do what you do. Then you have a system for helping the leaders become leaders, make leaders of leaders, pretty much. You have to have a system for each one of those. And, that's totally different call. There's
it's a numbers game, right? So for every leg that you need 2,000 to 3,000, you need 1 or 2 sharers under there. And so that's what you have to identify. Like when we were going for Blue, we need 30 executives paying for their products. All of those needed 1 or 2 what we call motors, people who are active, because sometimes the people at the top are not as active anymore. Some of them have bigger teams under them. They're starting to make more residual money.
Some of them they will.
Some will, some won't. And someone else is waiting. We got to get going, right? But those 30 motors are people that we're putting under there that are hungry and they want to start paying for their products. And the systems that we put in place is onboarding our new oil users was Oil Camp. If you guys haven't done Oil Camp, get an affiliate link from somebody. We love Oil Camp. So we do Oil Camp once a month. We do 1 and 2 every month, onboarding them for their oil usage. It would take us 3-4 years before to do what you do in Oil Camp in 2 weeks. We love it. Okay. So Oil Camp 1 and 2. What happens in 1 is they get on LRP. Even if it's below 50, even if it's below 100, who cares? They're on LRP. This is huge. It's a win. Okay. The second Oil Camp, what we found was that they're learning the wellness, the lifestyle, the co-impact sourcing, all of that, the magic. They're starting to get it. And most of them will end up hosting a make and take or a class or referring some people. They will do something. And I love that, right? So
one thing we did is with how to get the most of the membership, we accumulated that into the Oil Camp 1, because we saw that a lot of people were having a hard time getting that second middle camp in between Oil Camp 1 and 2. So we just brought in all those posts into the Oil Camp 1 as an extra post. It can be always refined, make it better, but we're trying to get a message to the people.
Right. And after that, after we've onboarded, that's our onboarding of our customers. What we have found is that I needed a way to jumpstart our leaders that want to launch. Previously, when someone said, hey, I'm interested in the business, what would happen? It would be me training them individually for 3 to 5 hours. And I don't know about you guys, but I can't do that anymore, right? We've got 10,000 people on our team. I just can't.
And that aha moment came when our business coach said, Roxy, can you onboard 2 people a month? Oh, yeah, I can onboard more. Cool. How many can you onboard? Oh, probably 5, 7, 10, probably the most. So like, wow, that's pretty good. Roxy, can you onboard 500 people a month? Like, no, of course not. What's wrong with you? Cool. Call me when you are going to be able to onboard about 500 people a month. And that makes you think, guys, so what is it that you're trying to accomplish? You don't put the systems in place, you will never luck that you're going to make it by luck, but that would be it. So,
Adrian, I want to break in there just for a second. Here's the reality for most of the people on this call. Your upline, whether it's Roxy and Adrian, or us, or perhaps other diamonds or blue diamonds that are part of this, they likely have an oil camp. They have a lot of these resources done, and the reality is that many of us that started years ago, when I started, there were my upline gave me 5 videos and YouTubes and said, let's do this. And that was it, right? There were no systems. There was nothing out there. And so a lot of us had to create a lot of this stuff. But by all means, if I were starting today, if my upline had these resources, that would be the last focus on my agenda. would be to create my own resources. By all means, use what's already done. Don't recreate the wheel. You can move a lot faster when you're leveraging your time. And by all means, use someone who's already done it that has that ability. So don't reinvent the wheel.
And that's especially awesome for our new people that don't really want to do what we're doing because they're like, oh my gosh, you guys are so busy. And I'm like, oh my gosh, we work 20 hours a week. I love what I do. I mean, anyway, but that's what they think. That's what they think. But it makes it easier to recruit, right? Because all you have to do is plug your people into, we call it the lazy river effect. Okay, you get your oil set, you got to float. Yay, you got your float. Okay, get in the water. It's warm. It's going to be fun. And you're going to float on the river, and it's going to be so fun. But it's that lazy river effect of anybody can enroll a few people, and let's get them in this process. But the next part of it is the recruiting, right? So we created a Thinkific. It is 2.5-hour module that they go through at their own pace. It's little modules. A training system. It's a training system. And I have a manual that they can print out and they can learn the verbiage. And once they're done, I can see their success as well. So I can see, okay, they're telling me, yeah, I did it. And it says 2%. So I can check, are they committed? Are they capable, right? So once they're done though, we role play. And this is key, guys. One of my young new launch from last month, she finished it 100%, completed it. She went out and did 4 appointments with friends and family. They all said, I will buy something. None of them bought. Now that's a critical time. I could have lost her. She could have been like, done, peace out, I'm done, over. I tried, it's not working for me. dōTERRA sucks, I'm out. And I was like, when she sent me the message, I heard it in her text.
This is middle of the month, guys.
Middle of the month. She just launched. So I met her the next day at Panera Bread. And Adrian came with me. She has 3 littles, 5, 3, and 1. Okay. Adrian's rocking one baby. The 4-year-old's like lassoing this, like the little number thingy at Panera. And I mean, we were a sight to see for sure. But I was like, listen, we're going to role play. And she's looking at me like, are you serious? And she goes, I'm getting sweaty pits. And I told her, I said, we're going to hashtag from now on sweaty pits, because that's how you know you're in your zone, when you're sweaty pits. If you don't have sweaty pits in your business every day, you guys, you're not in your zone. We're every day have to do stuff that challenges. I have sweaty pits right now. Why the heck are y'all even listening to me? What do we know? We're just still trying to learn. Right. But what she did was, you guys, we role played for 2 hours. She would repeat, okay, she'd say, so like, I think, on guard would be really good. And so I'd be like, oh my gosh, right? So I'm like, okay, so this is what you said. So on guard, and I would repeat it back to her. And I'll say, how do you receive that as a customer? She goes, oh, that didn't feel right in my stomach. I'm like, oh no. And so I told her, I was like, you have to be confident. It's like sharks. They will eat you alive. You have to be confident. They don't know anything about essential oils. You're an expert. You've been using them for a year, girl. You have to be confident, right? So they will eat you alive. They will eat you alive. Yeah. So she was like, I don't want that. So we role played for 2 hours and refined and refined and refined. And it was uncomfortable. It's like ripping a Band-Aid off, you guys. But do you know what she did? One lady that she'd already had the appointment with, she told her no. She posted about her baby had their adenoids removed and in so much pain, they're spitting out the Tylenol and all this stuff. She's showing me this text, tears in her eyes. She's like, what do I do for her? She already told me no. Yeah. And I said, what would you want somebody to do for you? And she said, I don't know. And I said, here's a kit. I gave her the kit. She drove to the lady's door, opened all the oils, put them on the baby. The lady signed up on the spot, then posted on Facebook, the life change. And now you see this girl bloom. She had 9 enrollments in 14 days.
Over 2,000
2,300. Yeah, 2,300 sales in those 2 weeks because of a shift. But we had to meet in person. It was uncomfortable. It took 2 freaking hours. But she's fine. She's taken out. Her goal is elite this month, premiere next month. And she will do it. She will do it.
And here's the reality of that. And to be quite honest, that's the role playing aspect is something that we've not done enough, Holly and I. And I hope you guys on this call hear the reality of no matter what level that you're at, you can do better at whatever you're doing. Period. Yeah. And that it's nothing. It doesn't mean that you're not capable. It doesn't mean that. It just means there's a skill set that you're missing that you got to work on. Yeah. And so, but that's powerful to hear that, because the reality is her days of role playing are not over, are they?
No.
Because once she hits another level, there will be something else that breaks.
It's another wall.
And there'll be another wall. And you know, when you're looking for people that that have those characteristics of success, some of that is that tenacity that I'm going to find a way around. That's a great, you know, aspect or characteristic to look for. But the reality is if they only know what they know, and they certainly don't know what you know, and if you don't share it with them, they have no idea when they look at that wall that there is even a way over, around, under, or through it.
Right.
So you've got to give them that, and that's what the role playing does. So fantastic for that.
Okay, there's something that I wanted to say here, David.
2 minutes.
Okay. You know, I thought you were going to ask this question, but I'm going to offer it to you. We have less than 2 of our legs that we went diamond with. Less than 2 of those legs are still with us. So basically, out of the 5 that we became blues with, not even 2 are the ones that we started with. Just to know that one question. And that goes hand in hand with what you just said about systems. And who are your people that you have today that you think they are with you? Don't hang up on that, guys. Don't. Okay, work with who's under that person that doesn't want to play. And 2, systems. I saw a lot of stuff going about on Facebook. We do believe that the oil camp is much better on Facebook because you get people to engage. If you have it in a just standalone other method out there, people are not going to be as receiving as much as they would if they are in an interactive way, platform. We had a couple of Facebooks, couple of oil camps in our team. We hired them out. We don't do absolutely anything about them. We have virtual assistants that run them. They are elsewhere in the world. They set them up. They do the points. You just pay them $100 a month. That's all what you have to do. And the oil camp will be ran for you with no questions asked. Just let us know if you guys are interested. We can give you that connection there. So
someone asked about what if your customers are not on Facebook. I just encourage them, just set up a fake account and join the Facebook event. It goes to their email. Just turn the notifications on to email. That way, at least they're getting all the content. And if they choose to just log on for those 2 weeks and post, and then they can close the darn thing. But that's the platform we're using right now. We have talked about adding it to a Thinkific module, but honestly, the Thinkific modules have like a 10% completion ratio because there's no time deadline on it, and there's no engagement back. And so we just haven't been motivated to do it. So that's what we do. If you want to be part of that, great. If not, get a book, I guess. Get the Modern Essentials book or the app or whatever.
All right, guys. So we're at 11 o'clock. Believe it or not, that was 1 hour. And of course, I sent you guys kind of what I was hoping to cover, and so you can tell how much we did and did not cover. So here's the reality of it. I guess that those of you that are on this and they're watching this after, what I hope you walk away from is when you look at them and you look at their faces, you feel their energy. That's what you can have at manager, elite, premier, silver. It doesn't matter. You can have that belief, that feeling at any level. Now, what it takes for you to get that may be a book, it may be an event, it may be convention, it's going to be something that makes a shift in you. But obviously using the products, just like he was showing the belief pyramid, it's foundational. Unlike a lot of multi-level marketing gimmicks out there, the whole reason that it was called a pyramid scheme is because the product is actually an afterthought. The primary goal is to make a bunch of money. And then, oh, by the way, we have a product. dōTERRA is not that game. And dōTERRA is truly about changing lives, if at first health and wealth, okay? But it's got to be health. And so I love that. The one thing I wanted to note when you guys were mentioning that you had to look the part of being in a wellness company, for those of you who are not currently in that size 2, that's okay, okay? Because the reality
healthy. We want to be
That,
healthy.
exactly. The reality is health is a process. Wellness is a process. And people can tell, I don't care what poundage you are, people can tell if you're on the road.
Right.
And that's the goal. That's the mindset, because it doesn't matter what you look like. It matters where you're going. And they feel that energy that you're making that shift. So I just wanted to clarify what some may have perceived in that. And so
I just want to speak to you guys just as we wrap up that I've been on many calls like this too, and I felt hopeless. I mean, there were tears, and I'm not an emotional person. I don't cry a lot, but there were we were diamond for 5 freaking years, y'all, and it felt like forever. Is it ever gonna come together? Okay. So many things had to shift, so many things. And so if you're in that frustrated spot right now, I hear you. You're not alone. It's normal. I think it's part of just the normal growing process. If it was easy, everybody would have it. And if everybody had it, it wouldn't be worth it. It's like if everybody won the lotto today, it would be 1 penny each. Okay. It's the same thing. If it was easy, everybody would have it. It wouldn't be worth it. So you guys trust the process. It's worth it. You're on a development journey though. And so
enjoy the journey. Put a smile on your face along the way.
Yeah, there's so much good in here, guys, and look for it though. Look for the good. Look for the positivity. I keep some pom-poms at my desk, and we look for wins. We're looking for wins. So when I talk to my leader, I'm like, tell me the wins. Tell me the wins. So they're looking for the wins, not because you can look for the negative, right? I can tell you all the hot mess things that didn't go well last month, or I can tell you all the we had 100 rank advancements last month, right? We busted through some levels. So we're going to choose to talk about what's going well.
Love it. Momentum is a series of winning moments. Just for those on phones that couldn't read that. Awesome. Guys, thank you so much for joining us on this. I really, really would love to have another one. What'd you call it? First Fridays with the
Friday. I don't know, because it's the first Friday, so I was like first Fridays.
We'll come up with something, but I really like that, because there is an energy, and I think we all need to realize that a growing team has an energy, and if a growing team has a certain energy about it, a stagnant team also has an energy.